as soon as I started putting myself first, everything started to get better with everybody else. Because I wasn't tired and jaded and feeling resentment towards the people that I love in my life because I didn't have time for me. It was I took care of me first, in which case I was that best version of myself for the rest of my family.
Your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome back to Construct Your Life. We're not going to talk about taxes. We're not going to talk about anything to relate with that. There is this person on here called Justine who wants to tell us what's healthy and not healthy. It's you know, I tell everybody these days nobody knows what to do. I lead off every health discussion. I just interviewed a doctor about this. You know, do I eat eggs? Do I not eat eggs? Do I eat bacon? Do I not eat bacon? What diet is the new trend? You know, really, to be honest with you, now that I'm saying it out loud, the trend diet, the trend healthy thing is more of a metaphor for life. Is that nobody believes in consistency anymore. It's all, we're just going to jump on the new. You know, now we're sticking ourselves with a pin so we can lose weight, you know? And so what do we do, Justine? Where do we go? How do we know what's going on? And more importantly, who the hell do you think you are to tell us what to do?
I am nobody.
No, that's a lie. Tell them who you are.
No, that is.
Who you are.
My name is Justine Arsenault, and I specialize in emotional and disordered eating.
Oh,
so
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds like it can keep you busy for the rest of your life.
Yes. I mean, as long as we continue down the path that we're going with society, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
What's interesting, right? And you know, I'm a little bit of an interesting cat, where like you're searching these days to find stuff to like test the mind, or you're doing whatever you want to do, right? You do hard workouts. I've cycled 70 miles. You know, I've done these things, these hard things. I beat addiction. I'll be honest with you. You want to see how messed up your mind is? Don't eat for 2 days. And then realize all the things that you say to yourself, or more importantly, all the subconscious behaviors that we have around food.
I'll kick it off out the gate with this. It's like, when it comes to weight loss is not about food. It is your mental health and mindset 100%. So many of us are chasing after weight loss. And when we chase weight loss as the goal, like that's what we're going for, we will go to the most ridiculous extremes to reach it, because we also need to reach it as fast as humanly possible. Like, God forbid we take some time and actually, you know, put some effort and work into it, because that's too hard. Right? I can see the scale drop 10 pounds in 30 days and I'm going to feel super great about it. And guess what? You're going to put it all back on again, because it's not sustainable in any way. So we spend all of this time going up and down, and avoiding what the real reason is, which is why you're eating so much food in the first place. Like, why are we eating the things that we're eating when somebody tells me I can't control myself around that food? Well, why? There's a reason.
Yeah. For me, it's deviled eggs. Deviled eggs. Like the whole tray is for me. It's period.
It's just for you.
Look, Grandma knows. Grandma knows. There's a separate tray for Austin. You know what's interesting?
Austin.
Look, I'll unpack something for you that's really interesting. I love, and when I mean love, like could have a romantic relationship with banana pudding. Okay? I don't have a sweet tooth, and I love it when I'm eating it, but I don't ever want to eat it. I might eat it as one dessert a year, right? But when I'm eating the thing, it's like, wow, this is really amazing. But I don't have like a compulsion for it, right? Why is it the other way when people are like, I gotta have a sweet, and they have it? Like, what is going on in my brain where, like, in the midst of enjoying it, I enjoy it, but like I don't have a need for it? Is because I was so broke as a college kid that I couldn't afford sweets, or and I never just, like that understand. I don't that mechanism. I don't really understand.
It's the relationship that you have with it. You
Ah.
you could have two people grow up and, like, depending on how the relationship begins, and then, like, you go through it. So let's say pasta, because pasta is the enemy, right? So let's say you grow up in an Italian family where, like, your grandma makes like homemade pasta and homemade sauce. And it's this whole production where it's brought together with love, and you serve it and you enjoy it with people. And it's like every bite is just this beautiful memory. And you love it, right? That's a beautiful experience that you have. You love the food for what it is. It's a memory, right? And then you could have someone who grows up and you don't eat pasta. Pasta makes you fat. Pasta is a horrible thing to have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you could have that flip side where grandma is that one that makes it, and something happens to you in life, you move away or whatever. It's then pasta becomes the only comfort that you have because you haven't figured out how to create comfort for yourself outside of pasta. So then all of a sudden you've changed this beautiful relationship that you have with pasta into something that is, it's serving a need that the food was never meant to do, right? Like, so you're just constantly eating it because it creates this comfort. Like, I worked with a client who she could not figure out how or why she was so addicted to a French vanilla cappuccino. And it, so when we turned it back, it was when her husband or her son was born. He was in the ICU for a very long time, very late nights in the hospital. She's up, she's wandering around. She wanders into the coffee shop that's open 24/7 in the hospital. She gets this warm, sweet drink. That's that moment of comfort in this time of extreme stress. And you do that a couple of times over like the course of a few months, and all of a sudden, it doesn't matter where you are, when that extreme stress comes on, you're like cappuccino, warmth, comfort, right? We create these attachments to these different foods and drinks that we don't even have to really think about. That reticular activating side of our brain that filters out what's important to us will just kick in. It'll be like, we need comfort because we're feeling this certain way. This is the food that makes us feel better.
Guys, let me take a minute to tell you about my buddies over at Lead Hub, Ben and Aaron, the best humans I know. Not only are they amazing at marketing for trade companies, but Ben started his HVAC company in his garage, sold it for multi-million dollars. So when this guy talks, I listen. When we took over Dietz Mechanical, we had 22 reviews in 22 years. In 7 short months, we went from 22 reviews to 107. We went from a 4.2 to a 4.7. We tripled our Facebook presence and we tripled our calls. If you're an HVAC, plumbing, electric, landscaping company, and you're looking for a no BS approach to marketing, you're looking for people who have done it before, you got to go to leadhub.net. It's so true because, for me, when I stopped drinking, this is 5 years later, it took me 4.5 years, maybe longer. I had an association with Topo Chico sparkling water in my celebration because I drank vodka and these things. It took me 5 years. When I got sober, I drank 7 of those a day because that was like what I did. And like slowly it became like 1 a day, and then it was 1 a day for like years, and then I was like, maybe I'll just not drink it. I mean, it took almost 4 years, and I still think about it. I still think like, oh, you're celebrating, right? When I go to an event, I don't feel the need to drink. I just went to an event at a brewery, but I'm searching for a club soda. Don't you dare get on the internet. Don't you dare. I saw.
It is a kid. I'm like,
I know it is a kid. Don't you dare. But what I'm saying is, I went up to a meetup on Thursday. Don't you dare. He has no idea what we're doing, but I'm having the best time. So don't you dare watch any shows right now. We need the internet at peak condition. But I went to an event last week. I love how I have my own episode inside my episode.
Yep.
And it was at a brewery. I don't care. I'm not going to tell them where to have it. I don't care. But the first thing I do is go seek a club soda because everybody else is drinking, booze. Not that I care, but it's still there 5 years later.
Yeah. And it's when it comes to a lot of this, when we're trying to break that like bond that you've created, one, most people have no idea where, like, some have an idea. They're like, I know it happened in childhood, or I know that it's this, but they don't actually know how like it connected itself all together and why it's still there. But it's the discomfort that comes with trying to change that pattern, right? Because your brain is like, no, we need this, like it's like egging you on almost to the point where you feel like you're going crazy, right? So it's, and depending on how strong it is or how strong the attachment or the feeling that you feel, like if it's like if it is stress isn't really an emotion, it's accumulation of emotions, right? So it's like if you're feeling this massive like overwhelm and like you get into that, it's hard to sit in that emotion when it's easier to just grab that thing and calm yourself, right? And when you stop and think about it, it's also fascinating that just one simple bite of that thing then calms it, right? Like it's such a crazy thing that happens within our brains. So it's like most people will stay stuck because they have no idea how to sit in the discomfort so they can figure out how to get out of it.
Like the hunger feeling, right? Like it feels like it's just like the thing, like it's gonna like consume you, right? I'm hungry, it's breakfast. And if you like do some breaths and you like wait a couple minutes, it kind of just, a lot of the time it just passes, right? And so you have to ask yourself, like, how long, if I just don't, like, perfect example, we get busy, right? Let's say you have a busy day. You don't eat, you're running around, your mom, like, you survive. Like, I'm not saying it's like, we can debate on whether it's healthy or not.
But then you eat all of the things.
Yeah. Then you eat all the things, right? And so, like, the thing is like, how much do you think that people aren't really paying attention to, hey, I ate that thing, this is the way I feel afterwards, kind of thing?
Oh, no one. But most people aren't like, I would say most of the world has, not most, like a large majority of the world has lost touch with like any sort of cues that are going on inside of their body, right? Like they have no idea what it actually feels like to be that start of hunger, that like we're hungry and then it's okay, we need to eat now or we're going to pass out, right? Like they miss these cues. And the same thing goes for thirst. Like so many people forget what it actually feels like to be thirsty because they're drinking coffee all day long or they're drinking soda all day long. It's like they're like, I don't get thirsty. And it's like, well, your body's going to tell you what you need, but they don't know how to read it anymore. They've lost touch with where they're at. So it's like to be able to actually sit in an emotion and know why, it's so much easier to just ignore it because it's messy to deal with. And that's where, like, when so many people say stuck, it's because we're currently in this comfort zone over here that we are miserable in. But in order to get over here to where we'd be truly comfortable and truly happy, we have to navigate through this whole massive new set of discomfort. So it's like, do you stay uncomfortable in your comfort zone or do you step into this new type of discomfort to become truly comfortable? And for most people, they'll just stay uncomfortable and comfortable.
And
which is a massive mindfuck.
No, 100%. And before I met my fiance, when I lost weight and I thought I ate well, I found out I ate well for somebody who didn't know what eating well was. I ate to an ability that I saw, and then she took it, 100 miles past that way because she is, all organic and all the things. And don't get me wrong, it's wildly frustrating to have to do things. Meaning, have you ever tried look, let's call it what it is. Have you ever tried to travel on multiple planes, which I do all the time, and eat healthy? Good luck. And then more importantly, if you're not eating gluten, good luck. And so most of the time, I just don't eat. I just don't eat. I don't fast, or like I'll bring a snack, or I'll plan ahead, right? But and you wonder why people, rush around all day and get fast food. It's pretty obvious. It's because
It's
it's
easy.
easy.
It's
You're
convenient.
easy. You're
Yeah.
tired. You're hungry. It's so simple. It's just better to do it, or people just view it better as to not have to worry about it. That's the big thing.
Well, and it's not, and it's the funny thing is that we tell ourselves that it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, if we took the time to learn how to create that for ourselves, then all of a sudden that becomes our new easy. Like my life is organized chaos. My daughter's a competitive dancer. My son plays hockey and I coach his hockey team. My husband coaches a high school basketball team. He's in the military. He's taking his master's right now. It's like we're all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
but we rarely ever eat out. Like I have containers. Like when we leave for the night, our meals are prepped to go. There's some days that my daughter eats her supper in the truck on our way to dance, and I eat once I get there, but I have my meal prepped. When we travel, the four of us together, or even just me, we have one suitcase that has 3 lunch bags in it with food.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that we can't eat out. It's one of my favorite questions to ask myself when I'm working on me, which is a constant work in progress, is does this align with the goals that I have for myself? And does this align with who I want to be?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I don't.
Right. So it's like,
But Justine, I don't have time.
Okay, how much time are you spending on this? Your phone.
All of it. But
Yes, exactly. So you have time. Stop giving yourself your bullshit excuses and like
yeah,
it's
but well,
and
hold
that's
on though,
what it,
Justine. But the healthy food's too expensive.
there are so many other ways that you can eat healthy. Organic is like just one of them. Like you fruits and vegetables in a can still count as fruits and vegetables. Fruits and vegetables that are frozen still count as fruits and vegetables. Like people underestimate how like we're mostly plant-based eaters. Like we don't eat a whole lot of meat. And it's funny when I do buy it, I'm like, oh my God, it's so expensive. It is. But like beans and legumes are not. And
Mm-hmm.
they're fantastic for you and full of so many nutrients. And it's like there's so many ways to eat affordable. And I mean, then there's this phone, like Instagram. There are so many amazing people out there. And I mean, I'm in Canada, you guys are in the States, but like it's there I have like 3 people that I follow that do like recipes on a budget. Like they'll go to Aldi or they'll go to Dollar Tree and they
Mm-hmm.
feed themselves for a week on $30. Like there are so many people out there. Like that's the beautiful thing about the platform. It's like we tell ourselves that it is this thing, so then we believe it's this thing. Like I told myself for the longest time that it was going to take me too long to clean up the kitchen in the morning before I took the kids to school. Right? Like in my head, it was like that was so much of a task first thing in the morning. Well, when I attached it to a habit I already had, so I told myself, okay, you're not allowed to have your second cup of coffee until you've cleaned up the kitchen. Guess how long it takes me to clean the kitchen in the morning before I take the kids to school?
10 minutes, 12 minutes.
5. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. But in my head, it was this task that was going to take me 25 minutes. For sure, it was going to take me 25
All right,
minutes.
you ready? Because this is my favorite tactic right now is the bouncing ball. So I tell my clients. I said, follow the bouncing ball of thoughts and emotions. Okay, I'm gonna unpack people's belief around food. All right. So we have. I'm tired. I'm hungry. I've worked all day. The kids are yelling at me. Damn kids! Shut up, kids! Get it back there, right? So you're telling yourself that I can't. So I'm gonna go for the quick option because I didn't plan because I didn't have time. Okay, so that's the action items around it, and it's taken me a real long time and a lot of work to understand By you not giving your body what it needs, you don't love yourself. And because you don't love yourself, you're not taking the time necessary to nourish your body with the things that it needs. So really, by you not feeding yourself properly is an act of you don't care about yourself. And it's really odd to stop what you're doing, which is me, who has, 8 episodes today and meetings and all these things, right? To say, you know what? But if I didn't do it in the morning, if I didn't write down my affirmations and I didn't do my walk and I didn't do my push-ups, then I wouldn't be what I need to be available. And if I wouldn't have my vitamins and I wouldn't eat the proper food that I needed to eat, then I can't show up in this conversation. It's taken a long time to understand that part of the journey is just as important as the execution in the business, in the podcast, in the coaching. And I think that's the disconnect for a lot of people, is they think there's no correlation between the two. Well, I don't know. I just feel tired and terrible all the time. I have no idea why.
You know. Right. And there's a lot of, it's a twisted thing. So for myself, I would put myself last for a very long time, right? I was that back burner, but it was that thought in my head that I put everybody before myself. And which in that case, like most people are like, oh, good for you, right? Like that's the way that society has taught us, that like we put ourselves last and everybody before us, especially our family. Like your kids are the be all end all, like they are the ones that come first, right? And as soon as I started putting myself first, everything started to get better with everybody else, because I wasn't tired and jaded and feeling resentment towards the people that I love in my life because I didn't have time for me. It was, I took care of me first, in which case I was that best version of myself for the rest of my family. Right. But there's so many people that are like, oh, that's selfish. And it's like, you're correlating, I'm going off on these weekend adventures with like me making sure that I have a hot shower and that I've given myself the proper nutrients that I need for the day, right? Like that's what you're thinking is selfish. It's like, I'm not saying I'm going off and doing all of these crazy things. I'm taking care of myself on the basic of basic levels, in which case I am able to take better care of the people that I love. And I show up better for work, right? Because I feel my best, in which case then they get my best. So really it's selfish for you not to take care of yourself, because all anybody's ever experiencing is this diluted version of you because you're too exhausted.
Tone of voice and certainty in speaking is that kid doesn't record. I tell you what, no, I'm just kidding. I just think it's so great that you and I are having a separate podcast on what I said before we started. You can tell people like when they're more comfortable with who they are, or when they understand and they found their purpose. You, young lady, have found that. And it's amazing to talk to you now and talk to you when we were in the coaching group and just see how much you've grown and how much you love what you're doing and your mission. It's just, it's really awesome to watch somebody come into their own even more than they already were. So it's just awesome to see that.
Thank you.
So listen, we talked a lot of high level stuff. One of the things I'm trying to focus on is tactical information, step by step. Look, I'm stuck. I'm eating crap. I don't know where to start. I'm too confused. Where do I start?
With one thing. For the love of God, one thing. Whether it's eat more fruits and vegetables, drink more water, get more sleep, move your body in some way. Like go for a walk. Walking's nothing. Are you walking right now? No, then it's fucking a lot. So go for a walk, right? Like work on your mindset. What's that story you're telling yourself to yourself, right? But one thing, like I have 6 pillars of how to be foundationally healthy. We don't work on all 6 at the same time. That's how we become overwhelmed and we fall back into our past patterns. You pick one thing and work on that one thing, right? So if you're working on getting more water in your life, you pick that one thing. And once you've got the amount of water that you should be drinking for you, like, then you're good. Move on to fruits and vegetables. But we tend to create this huge list for ourselves of things and tasks that we're trying to change. And we try to tackle them all at once. And it becomes too overwhelming because it is impossible to change all of those things at once. Because sometimes one thing has to change before the next thing can come into practice. If you don't change this one thing, this one's not going to work. Like, you have to work on one at a time. Like, and it's such an enjoyable experience when you take your time and really work on the things that matter.
I love it. So my favorite question I'm asking these days is, what's a narrative out on social media that is driving you crazy?
Oh, God. That's a plethora of
Everybody
things.
has the same response. They go, how much time you got?
I know. Right now, the narrative is like, as a whole, is our society is currently in the midst of pushing and what's the word I'm looking for? Normalizing disordered eating. That is what social media has created as a whole, with everything. Like, when I break down all the things that are irritating me, like thigh gap has come back and lagging legs. Like, for me, it's like, as a whole, society, like social media, is normalizing disordered eating. And like, as somebody who specializes in that, and as somebody who has a daughter that 9 out of 10 young girls will end up with some form of disordered eating in their life, that shit pisses me off and sets a fire inside of me to continue doing what it is that I'm doing, so that young girls in the future don't have to struggle the way that I did.
I love it. That was Mama Panther that came out, boys and girls. So be careful.
She's vicious.
So if people want to find out about you, they want to track you down, how would they do that? I loved it. Like,
good luck.
What I love about my podcast is, like, I'm just me, and like I'm having like internal jokes in my head go off, and like you and I are joking. Like, you know, the thing is like, somebody asked, I got a guy coming on my podcast later today because we started another one, right? So I have interviewed like 30 people on this new podcast. He is one of the owners of the company and won't come on the podcast because he feels like he needs to have something to say, right? And I'm like, dude, like, I've done almost 800 podcasts. I have no agenda. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. You and I are just going to jam on something, and people are going to listen. It's a wild concept. I have no idea what's going to happen. Some weird stuff have happened on the podcast, and you just let it go. Because you know what? I realized this morning when I was doing my walk this morning. Here's my new thing I'm on. This is great. This is my favorite thing I've ever done. Do you know what parents do the moment that you come over to their house? So I'm a neighbor. I'm a family friend, whatever you want to call it.
I'm so sorry for about the mess.
Yeah. So listen, they go, you know what? The first thing they do is open the door and they turn around and they go, hey, you know, look, guys, super sorry about the mess. Okay, so last time I checked, your kids weren't in military school and they're kids and they like to play with toys and you have a life and you're busy. Who cares? It ain't for me. Like, I've walked in houses that are hoarder houses because I'm a real estate investor. I don't care. And so why are you saying that? Well, you're saying that because you feel like there's a problem. The fact that you think there's a problem is the problem, because life is messy.
Also, if my house is the disaster when you show up, it's because I like you.
Ooh, that's good. I like that.
If it's very tidy when you show up,
ooh,
trying to figure it out.
Oh, that's I didn't know. I'm gonna be noodling on that one for a while. Okay, so If people want to find you, they want to find out, track you down, how would they do that?
All of my socials and everything are on my website. So bnalifestyle.com or bna.lifestyle is my Instagram handle.
I love it. Guys, if you got some value from this episode, send it around, share it with somebody that'll see you, and we'll see you next time.